Hello, everyone. I wanted to bring you here today to look at Talespire, the beta release, and go through a couple starting tips and tricks. I've been playing with it now for a week since it came out a week ago yesterday in the evening. And I wanted to kind of go through some things that I learned when using it as well as the basics for maneuvering around, building, those kind of things. I'm going to start out when you first load up Talespire. You have this opening screen. You'll hit actually a screen before this, and you'll hit begin, and then you will come to here. And then from here, you can create new campaigns, or if you have a dungeon master who has this program and you want to join a campaign, they can generate a code that you can use, and I will show you how to do that. Then you can enter that code down here under the Join Campaign section, and from there you can join their campaign. So we'll go through that as well, but first let's create a new campaign. So you go ahead and give it a name for whatever it is you are wanting to put it as. And hold on one second while I turn this down. There we go. So we'll just call this my test. And then submit. And I select on it and I can play. Okay, so now in here, this is a blank map that you start up with, a blank game board. And in here, this is where you're going to build whatever it is that you want to build. So you'll notice there are several things along the top, on the sides, etc., for different kinds of controls that you can use. So let's start out with, in the upper left, it tells you what role you're at. As a GM, I have certain controls. If I want, I can switch to player, which is going to get rid of some controls that I would have. So I can switch back and forth as needed. And I'm going to just go back to GM because we're going to talk about how to build a game board for your players to play in. So first off, what other controls do I have on the screen? Well, as you can see right at the top middle, I can toggle my build mode by hitting B. Okay. I'm now in build mode, and I've got a whole bunch of things over on the right hand side that pop up that allow me to place tiles and different things like that. Right now I'm select on tiles. So I've got these different categories of tiles. There's tiles for castle, castle ruins, caverns, chests, etc. all through here. So I'm going to go ahead and for this little training testing video, I'm going to make just a basic map. And I'm actually going to start with this one here that says foam. This is an 8x8 grass floor. It's just kind of the quick and easy way to put a lot of tiles down on the map for, like, if you wanted a grassy plain as your base that everyone was going to be in. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And you can now see I've got this big 8x8 grass block. And you can kind of see the lines that highlight where it's going to be placed. So before I place this, I want to go through some of the controls that we see here. Up at the top, I've got all these different types of controls here. One says this is toggling my grid. If I click on that, now wherever my mouse cursor is, see how it kind of fades in the background? As I move it around, it's going to show me the grid. Additionally, this scale right here, I've got 3 indicators that I can drag up and down on this scale. This one right here, kind of the white diamond with the circle in it, this is my camera. and the height of where my camera is. So I can take it way up here and way down here. So this is the base level, the lowest it can go. It is also up here, the highest it can go. And I can move it as I need to. This right here we will see in a little bit. This is kind of a way to cut away different blocks. So like if you build a tall structure or one with a lot of walls and you want to actually be able to see what's inside without having to zoom in real far and get right up close, and you want more of an overhead view, this little cutaway block, this line, as I adjust the height, that'll help cut away those walls, and we'll see how that works in a little bit. This last one, this orange kind of hammer icon, this is showing you what level you are currently building on. So right now you can see my grid. It's on the same level as the camera, which is at the very bottom of everything. If I grab that icon and drag it, notice my grid is moving. So, I can change the height of where it's located. Now, some additional maneuvering tips and tricks, kind of the basics for manipulating everything in here. If you hopefully got a mouse with a center scroll wheel, as I scroll out and in, I can zoom in and out on things. I can hold down that center scroll wheel like a button and drag from side to side, and that will rotate my map. I can use my right mouse button, click and hold that, and then drag again to move around my map there. So those are kind of some of the main movements. I can also use WASD to move my map, or the arrow keys, either set works, to move around on my map, and the Q and E keys to rotate it. So I can either left click or center click the mouse wheel, hold that down and move it side to side to rotate, or use Q and E. Okay. Depending on the situation, I may use one or the other, just whatever kind of works best for me at the time. And I may use the arrow keys, or I may just right click and drag. But there's multiple ways to move around, so you can get around whatever you're building, see it from different angles, and work on it from there. So that's kind of the basics of moving about. So next we're going to go ahead and place that grass 8x8 foam tile down. And I can put one here just by left clicking. So I'd left click on the item that I want. So here, foam, left click here, on it. Now I've picked one up, and now I can just put it wherever I want. Okay, let's say I put it there. Oh, well, now I've got something. What if I don't like where it is? There's a couple things you can do. If I hold down the shift key and left click on it, I've now grabbed it again. Well, I can put it somewhere else, and I still have hold of that tile, a copy of it, so I can place more. Or if I'm done using it and I don't want it anymore, I can right click and that gets rid of it. Additionally, you don't have to just place one at a time. I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see it a little better. I can left click, hold, and drag, and now I can place multiple down at once. I can place a whole grid of these if I want at once. So like up here, let's put here, and let's make this, and you can see the numbers it's telling you on the screen there. Right now I've got, since these are 8x8 foam blocks, I'm covering a 24x8 grid with this grass tile basically, because I've got, here's 8x8, 16x8, 24, and I can, boom, there's 24x24. So I can use that grid and use those numbers to help me determine how wide, how big, etc. I want to manipulate this. And I'm going to go ahead and grab another one again. And let's just kind of fill this up. I'm going to move up here a little bit using my WASD keys to manipulate around. And then I let go. I've filled my area. Now I've got all, and I can move my camera up a little bit. And now I can see pretty much all of my tiled area that I've created here. And I can kind of click around a little bit with Q and E or with the center mouse wheel in order to manipulate the angle of the camera or spinning it around, things like that. So there's the base of what I want to build. I've got this map here. Now, I've got lots of other choices to pick from. So let's say I'm going to start building a castle. Well, I've got all these different kinds of tiles. I've got 1x1 tile. I'll just show you what that looks like. This is a 1x1 tile. Okay, and I can, spin around, look at it. Okay, and notice that this has a section of floor underneath it. Okay. The other thing I can use this center mouse wheel for is if I click it, and sometimes it's picky because your finger wants to spin the wheel. But if I click it, and let me, come on, get it. There we go. Notice it changes its direction that it is facing. So I can spin it around however I want. And again, I'm kind of moving the scroll wheel, zooming in at the same time, so I can place that wherever I want. I also have a 2x1 that also has that floor piece underneath it. There are ones that have a 2x2 section of wall with floor. You also have corner pieces, large corner pieces, 2x2, so a whole bunch to choose from there. You also have, if I come down further, sections without the floor underneath. So let's take a look here. I've got right here that 2x2 corner section, and let's zoom in here a little bit. Let's take a look at it. There we go. You can see it pretty well now. So this 2x2 section with floor for the corner piece. Well, I can also get a section without. So this way you can create walls that don't have floor underneath them, or you can put the floor individually, as I've got floor pieces separate, 2x2 floor pieces, 1x1s, and I can use those how I see fit. Now, what I've discovered with building is learn some things the hard way. Like if I take my 2x2 wall corner piece section that's got floor on it, and I decide I want to place this on top right there, well, notice I still got floor right there. Well, that can be perfectly fine if I just wanted a one tile high room and then had a second story above it. However, and I'm holding shift here to pick that up again and just move it out of the way, and then right click to get rid of the extra copy I have, and hold shift to pick this one up. If I wanted it to be a taller section, like a taller room, if I put this one on top, now I don't have that floor in the way, and it looks a little smoother, looks a little nicer. You can make entire sections this way. Like I am going to go ahead and grab this wall section here, put one there, and I can even just drag this along, again make a nice long wall section, and then find the wall section without a floor underneath it, and I can put that on top. So I've got wall pieces here, and I can attempt to drag those along as well. So now I've got this too high room, and I could put another floor above it if I want. I could just take floor and place floor up here. Oop, not quite where I wanted. There we go. So I could place that floor there and, you know, build an entirely new floor above this first one, but I've made this one nice and tall. Okay, that works. So I can do other things, and they've got some very cool designs in here for walls and stuff. This is kind of the plain castle wall. I've also got one here. Notice it's got this sword and shield on it. I've got one here with a window. They've got another one here, window with curtains on it. So there's lots of different things I can pick from. And that's just the castle section. They've also got castle ruins, which have a lot of different things in them. Caverns, so you get, you know, more dungeon-like environment. The chests, they've got a couple different chests in there to play around with. Cobblestone floors you can make for whatever you want to use them for a floor in place or maybe a pathway. Doors right here, a couple different kinds. Dungeon tiles. Okay, so lots of different and, in my opinion, awesome designs. And from what I understand, the developers are, you know, building new stuff right now. It's beta, so they're focusing on making sure that all the bugs get worked out. So that being said, since this is in beta, there may be bugs that we come across as we're dealing with this, but they're focusing on making sure that any bugs get found and fixed before they go to early release. But they've also talked about bringing in new models, new content that eventually will fill out for either the early release or that they'll release after as they come across and get that stuff done. So you'll have lots to work with on there. Now, here's the other thing. This right here. Notice we talked about some of these controls up here. This one right here. Let's say I would like to get rid of everything I've just put on here. Well, you can select volume on this board and do different things with it. So, like if I selected on these tiles with a left click and held the button down, and then just drag the mouse, notice I'm getting this square, you know, rectangle square that's moving around, and you can see the pieces as I go past them kind of popping up, indicating that, oh hey, you're on this. Well, I can stretch this box out to encompass whatever pieces I want it to grab. And then once I let go of the, let me move this over here so it'll do it. Once I let go of the mouse button, the left mouse button, now as I move up or down, it's turning this into more of an actual 3D volume that I'm selecting. And once again, anything that's in there that is getting selected will kind of pop up a little bit to indicate that it's part of that group. And then I can left click again, and now it's kind of highlighting this whole volume. There's a couple things I can do with this. If I want, I can copy this volume now. And I can also adjust it by moving my mouse cursor back over these little boxes to adjust on each of the three axes, however you want to say it, to adjust its size. I can copy it with just Control C, and oh look, I've grabbed this exact same thing again that I had selected. Then I can place that, and notice I still have a copy of it, so I can grab sections and place multiple wherever I want. Now, I'm still looking at getting rid of all this. How do I get rid of everything in here? Well, once again, I can go with my volume tool, grab things, and then if I just hit delete on the keyboard, it's gone. Now, what if I want to get everything except the grass? Well, if I click on the grass and drag, okay, right now, this grass, if I hit delete, notice I didn't have it. It didn't pop. If I move down, you know, whatever's selected, it pops up. Because right now I'm sitting right on top of the grass. If I move up, okay, I can do that, and then once again I can adjust the size of this. So let's grab all of this stuff, and I'm going to go way over here. I'm just going to drag a box all the way around all this here, and then move up. Oop, click. There we go, and then move up. And that should get everything. If I hit delete, all of that's gone. And let's get rid of this here too. Now, I'm actually, if you'll see my mouse cursor, I'm actually on the grid level, which is below the grass. Okay. So if I drag that, oh, it instantly is picking up the grass. Okay, which I didn't want to do. So I'm just going to grab here, move it along, and oop, I clicked twice by accident. So now I have to grab that side and drag it up, and I can delete that. Now I've gotten rid of all of those tiles that I had up there. So that's manipulating those tiles. So next thing to look at is I still have these other icons, and these can be really good for helping you in your build. One, build light. Just makes a little light. It doesn't really show up too well in this current thing because it's already so bright. So let's go ahead and just throw in some castle stuff. I'm just going to put down a grid of floor here. Looks good. And then I will grab some castle walls. Okay, those are good. Grab a corner or two. Oh, that's the one with the floor. There we go. I want the one without the floor. And oh, that's good over here, so let's put him there. Uh-oh, what happened here? Notice my wall is on the wrong edge of what I want. So I need to be able to fix that. So once again, I can delete that with the volume. So I'm going to drag my mouse cursor along here. I'm going to bring it down. Now if I bring it down too far, it picks up the tile. I don't even have to go all the way to the bottom. I've already got the walls. So I'm just going to click it and delete it. And I'm going to go back to my just plain wall piece. I'm going to rotate it. Oh. There we go. Grab another. And I'm going to move over here. And now I'm going to make sure I'm on the edge that I want to be on. And there we go. Now it's lined up. Everything looks a lot better there. This wall is already on the right edge. And if I go up here to my build light, see how it kind of brightened it up a little bit? Okay, so I can do that. I can also hit F, and this gives like a little spotlight. This is more for use in-game, maybe spotlight something that you want to draw the player's attention to, but it's also pretty cool. Now if I want to build something that is on top of this wall, okay, or even better, let's say I want to put something at a different height compared to this wall, like midway up. Well, if I double click on the top of this wall, I have now just set the camera height. You can see this right here. That's the camera height is for the top of that wall. If I now come to my icons up here, I've got move grid to camera. Now, oh look, this, I can see my grid. It is at the height of the top of that wall. So if you remember that little orange icon we had right here, okay, this is that grid height. I can grab this, and I just want to move it down a little bit, and this kind of one of those bugs in my opinion. As I move that, I'm getting the volume selector pop up, but don't really need to worry about it too much right now, because I'm just going to right click to get rid of the volume selector. The important thing was I got my grid height where I wanted it to be. So now I can grab something else, and I can put it at that height. So let's grab this, and notice it's indicating the grid is where it's going to be located. So I can put right there, and let's just put all the way there. and we can actually see, oh look, I've got this different height all along here. Okay. So I can adjust where things are located height-wise by double-clicking on a height I want to be, and if I want to put something at that height, use this move grid to camera, and then I'm at that height. Or I can just use the orange icon on my slide scale in order to move the grid up and down as I see fit. Okay, so that's that one. Now here's one, sample height for grid. Okay, well, look what happens when I click on that. It's made this circle appear, and I can see it kind of over here where it's a little darker, but it's made this circle appear, and whatever I'm aiming at, okay, whatever the highest surface is that I'm aiming at, it will place the grid on that height. So like here, and then when I click, now I'm at that height. It put the grid there. So I can use that as another tool to place the grid where I want it to be. But it's only going to be matched up with the height of whatever you're pointing at. So like there. Now I've got it lined up with the top of this floor grid that's just slightly below the height of the top of this wall. Okay, last icon up here is toggle clipping. I'm not going to go into that one right now because that one, it even says, in fact, if you click on it, right here, turning on clipping, you can clip files into other tiles by holding down Shift. It could break the game and is not recommended. Okay, I will make another video later on that deals in that, but not going to deal with that for now. Alright, so the last thing I want to show everyone in this video, which I will make another later on, is something that I learned when building areas. You have at your disposal as a DM the ability to hide areas. If I hit the tab key, I am now in these GM tools. I've got this little block down here that says Edit Hide Volumes. If I click on that, it opens up Create a Hide Volume. So now I can drag a volume around something, just like I've shown how to do. So I draw out this square, and then I can move this up and down as I see fit. And here, height does matter somewhat. Okay, as long as I'm touching something or it's partially encompassed within that volume, when I left click one more time, it disappears. You right click in here when you're in your GM's tools, I can toggle its visibility on and off, or I can delete the hide volume. So now the hide volume's gone. This is going to become important in my next video, where I will actually build a series of rooms, kind of a small building with a series of rooms, and in those rooms, as you're a GM and you're wanting your players to go through those rooms, then you want to have things easy set up for visibility the way you want, and there are some tricks that I learned on how to make sure you're getting the right things, you're encompassing the areas and the hide volumes that you want to encompass without getting things hidden that you don't want to. And it can be a little tricky sometimes, so I've kind of found a technique that it works for me. Might work for you too. Anyway, been going for about half an hour. I think that is more than enough info for one video at a time. So in my next video, I will go over some additional things. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.